Hello, everybody. My name is Benjamin Bloom. Welcome once again to the Championship preview show. As you can see from my wonderful appearance, I am somewhat hanging this morning. Some beverage were consumed last night, so I may need some help getting through this live stream, particularly with the predictions for a nice juicy round of Championship games. It is game week 28 morning in the feed, Adam and Eve. Gap closing up at the top over the past few weeks. Barnsley powering on down the bottom, keeping things competitive in and around that bottom three. Lots of business in the transfer window. We're in the midst of that, so lots of moving parts to this, as always, in the Championship. Let's start at the top, and we can quickly tick off West Brom because they're playing on Monday night. West Brom, the leaders, went back to the top with a draw last week, moved past Leeds. Morning, David, in the chat. Gap could be closed much further. Fulham have already won yesterday. We will speak about that in just a second. And can Brentford keep the hammer down? Then there's the small matter of Forest as well. So could be an interesting one. However, unlikely a Stoke away win at West Brom looks. Although there is a sense that West Brom just running out of a little bit of energy recently. So we will see on that one. I can't predict a Stoke win up there. I will go for a West Brom win, but I think the pressure is going to be on for the Baggies on Monday night. Let's say a home win. Animation says Stoke signed Jordan Thompson. Adam and Eve says it's going to be cold today. And as many of you who watch the channel know, I'm off to QPR, and it's QPR versus Leeds. So QPR in 15th, Leeds second. I'll be leaving probably in about an hour or so for the Kian Prince Foundation Stadium. Leeds, one win in 6 points over those 6 games. Brentford closing the gap. Is it starting to get tense at Leeds? They need a win, don't they? We've got the terrible form in London. Wolfgrat says QPR to win, and I'm sure we're going to get the Benjamin Bloom curse comments ready because I will be there, as I said. Hernandez possibly ready to start. Still problems at left back. Steve says 4-1 Leeds with QPR's defence. That may not be a bad prediction. Bielsa still doesn't seem to figure it out. Adam and Eve says, come on Leeds, let's end the Ben Leeds curse today. That would be nice. That would give me a little bit of a quiet life. Just one win, and then maybe we can go a few more games of no wins. As I was saying, Douglas just doesn't seem to have worked at left back there, so we assume Alioski will be back in there as well. QPR, well, they're all over the place with their form. They could literally do anything, any result possible here. 2 defeats, then 2 massive wins, 5-1, 6-1 there against the 2 Welsh clubs. Then easily beaten on Sky by Brentford, weren't they? And now we have the big Jack Clark subplot. Obviously, this is peak Leeds that he would go on loan to QPR, days before Leeds go and visit. Jack Clark obviously bursts onto the scene. I was there at Villa, comes on as a sub, scores a great goal in that turnaround win, and then just a outlandishly good performance in the Spygate game against Derby, and we're all saying what a player this guy is. Bielsa does the right thing. Instead of cashing in on Calvin Phillips, he cashes in on Pontus Jansson and Jack Clark, who's then loaned back to Leeds from Spurs. Doesn't really get on the pitch at all, and Spurs obviously want him back, and they've just sent him across London this time to kind of keep an eye on him. Be interesting to see what QPR do, because obviously Clark can play either wing. That Spygate performance was down the right wing, wasn't it? Where you have Bright Samuel, who's playing brilliantly, and if you switch him on the other wing, they've been playing Eze nominally out in that position, but obviously he gets into the middle. So don't know whether you take Chair out and you put Eze down the middle. And Clark to the left, Animation says, think this could be a repeat of Birmingham vs Leeds. Please, Animation. 4-5, that one. I would love that one. So I suspect Clark will be on the bench, and very interesting subplot as and when he's introduced. I've got to predict a Leeds win here, just purely because they're likely to create, 8 to 10 shots on goal, and QPR's defending has been so they've been so open, haven't I? I don't want to say bad. So let's predict the top two to win this weekend. The slowdown can't keep on going, can it? Both of them have let the others in. So GDBR says, I love how people say Leeds are falling apart, but yet West Brom are not. Well, I've said they're both slowing down. Thomas says, you're not going, are you? Yeah, I am going, Thomas. I do apologise. If anyone in the feed is going, I assume if you're Leeds and you're going, you would have left by now if you're up in Leeds. But if you're a London-based Leeds fan and you're watching on your phone, let me know and you can be on my match experience vlog. So we'll go for the top two to win. Fulham we'll have to deal with next. Fulham have gone up to third in the Friday night game. They beat Borough 1-0 and they had an XG. Kevin says, oh, FFS, stay at home. It's nothing to do with me, honestly. I have no influence on Leeds results. I'm just a vlogger, Kevin, honestly. I promise it's nothing to do with me. You're very likely to win today. You should be winning this game. Fulham building up a massive XG within sort of the first 20 minutes of this game and taking the lead. Max says, good win for Fulham. They played really well. From what I've heard, they really were at it last night. Ended 1-0. We'll deal with that in the review show. But Fulham have put the gap down a little bit further. Where is my league table? 48. So they're 5 points behind Leeds and 4 points behind Leeds and 5 behind West Brom. So Fulham doing their bit, closing the gap. Adam says, smash the like button. Folks, oh my God, sorry. As I say, it was a bit of a heavy night last night. Borough's a good run coming to an end there. Still at a good spot though. Right, Huddersfield, Brentford. Huddersfield 20th, Brentford 3rd. Huddersfield actually won the return of this game at Griffin Park, didn't they? And Brentford really, I know us Championship fans, we're in the know. We all already know about Brentford. Pete says, where am I off to today? Peter, off to QPR, as much as the Leeds fans don't seem to want me to go. But there you go. That makes me sad. So we all know about Brentford, but everyone seems to be talking about them now. The kind of, sort of casual Championship fans who just dip in and are like, oh, Brentford are good, aren't they? Animation says a classic 1-0 loss for Brentford. There you go. Beat Brentford over the last few years, as Animation says, would be to now go on a losing run in this position. Thomas says, I sound ill. I'm just hanging, Thomas. I just need to eat some food. There's, like I say, some adult beverage we're concerned. Steve says Brentford will win 5-0. So is this a new Brentford, though? Get in this position and not stuff it up. We will see. 11 wins in 16. My God, they're in good form. And the points are coming on at a greater rate than the top two, who do need to step up if Brentford can keep this moving. But we have seen them get in this position, or in a position where they're in really good form and everyone's backing them, and they go and get beaten. So Huddersfield, a bit stripy now, 3 defeats and 4, but they're doing what teams that finish in the bottom 6 don't do and win in the other games. 2 wins in those 5. If you win 2 in every 5, for goodness sake, you're going to be nowhere near relegation by the end of the season. So big, busy window though. The Cowleys now shaping up their squad. Smith Rowe, King, who went on loan to Derby, didn't he, and got injured straight away last season. Stearman, that's an Ipswich Town classic there. Toffolo, they've gone back to Lincoln for the first time for the fullback there. And Congolo has gone out to Fulham. I didn't mention that when I spoke about Fulham. Congolo, another one of these presumably highly paid Premier League guys. Big asset, if so. I guess he can go and play right back for Fulham. So they're in transition with the team for the next couple of weeks, I would think. Cowleys are clever and they probably won't dump all of those players in at the same time. Let's go for a draw. I really would like Brentford to win to keep the chase up, but I don't want to tempt fate here because Brentford do have it in their power to do their classic 1-0 away defeat here. So I'm going to go for a draw in this one. So I think it is going to be a reasonable day for the top two if that happens. Diakabi and Benza still there. Yeah, I guess they are. I don't think they've been loaned out, have they? Two very pacey wide players there. Forest in 5th versus Luton. This one's Sunday at midday. So the big upside for Forest here. This could be a massive 4 or 5 days. Ian says, please break the curse today. Come on, Leeds. And I'll echo that. This could be really great for Forest. If Leeds or West Brom lose, Forest, then Martin says, possibility of other teams getting a points deduction. Luton can stay up. At the moment, you might need 2 or 3 teams to get a points deduction. But hey, that could happen as well, Martin. Yeah, so the upside for Forest is if, say the top two both lose, Forest will then have 2 home games, one against Luton and one against Reading, and they'll be right up behind them. So could be a really interesting one. Reading have been in good form though. Forest 10 points from their last 4, and that could have been more apart from that crazy ending at Reading going in front in 96 and being pegged back. Luton just look beaten at the moment. I'm sure Martin in the chat will agree with me. Horrible form for a long while now. Found themselves at the bottom of the league. What they've worked up with Izzy Brown, well, he's gone and got himself injured, hasn't he? 4 points from safety as well. 1 point from the last 7 games. 13 defeats in 17. As I could pick any number of information. Josh says, I'm watching this while I'm doing my paper round. Great work, Josh. I think we'll win 3-0. Yeah, it should be a comfortable one, Josh, shouldn't it? And Barnsley, Stoke and Huddersfield all seem to be trending slightly upwards, don't they? So I think you might see that gap get a little bit bigger over the next few weeks, sadly, for Luton fans. So I'm going to go for a Forest home win. Seems a fairly obvious one on Sunday. But the context is all pressure will be on Forest if they drop points. Martin says Brown nearly back. That's good news for Luton. They really could do with his help there. Sheffield Wednesday versus Blackburn. Wednesday getting back up into the top 6 last week with that brilliant win at Elland Road. Smash or grab or not, any win at Elland Road is brilliant if you're the away team. And Marcelo Bielsa is the Leeds manager. They were without Fletcher. Leeds missed out. So, yeah, he should be back. Wolfgrat says looks bad for Luton. Sorry, guys. And yeah, I think we will echo that. Blackburn, they continue their downturn without Dak in his cruciate ligament. 1 win in 7, 3 points in the last 5 games, all off that brilliant run from November. No Evans. Niambi could return. I think everything's pointing at is a Wednesday home win in this one. Let's go for a Wednesday win. CLC says, still think we need a striker whilst Fletcher is out. Could go into the loan market, but there's still Winnall there, isn't there? There's still Newey, there's still Rhodes, but they all have their pitfalls, those players, don't they? So maybe Wednesday do go to the loan market. We will see, particularly if they could move Jordan Rhodes' wages off, but they spent a few years trying to do that and not managed to. Swansea in 7th versus Wigan in 23rd. And Swansea have really brought in 2 or 3 good new loanees, gone to Chelsea really to do these deals, and Conor Gallagher as well. That damages Charlton because he was very good for them. Only goal difference is keeping them out of the top 6, excuse me. Josh says, have you seen that Jota we've been linked with? That would be a great signing. Steve says, Wickham on the way. Peaky, oh hey Peaky. I hope you do well tuning in on the way to the Norwich game. Who have Norwich got? Oh, it's Bournemouth, isn't it? God, that could really, that's Norwich. Stick a fork in Norwich if they lose home to Bournemouth today. Swansea, where are we? Yeah, since that 5-1 reverse, their form is good, isn't it? 5-1, they lost at West Brom. 1 defeat in 7. 12 points in that time. Gallagher in, we'll see how that all pans out with Brewster. And someone will tell me the name of the centre-half that the other guy they took from Chelsea, because I can't remember and I'm hanging, obviously. Wigan got that first win after 13, probably then lost at home to Bristol City to follow it up. 7 in 7 is not terrible for Wigan, but the other teams there are outperforming. Josh says, and animations say, Gooey. Just tell me, guys. Is he a centre half? I don't recall, or is he a midfield? Another Chelsea guy gone in there. And we know Steve Cooper knows all about those. Sterling doubtful for Wigan. Mulgrew's gone back to Blackburn. Wigan are not going to get any points at Swansea, are they? Let's go for a Swans home win. Millwall versus Reading. So this is two teams playing very nicely. Millwall ticking along. Just that one today, down to QPR. 8 points in the last 4 for Millwall. After that Barnsley home defeat. Ryan Woods in from Stoke. This is what it's become at Millwall. Ryan Woods 2 years ago was Mr. If you want a deep line playmaker in the Championship, he was your guy when he was at Brentford. Obviously went off to Stoke under Rowett and just didn't work out. So I think he could be a very nice bit of business there. Josh, 12:30 is QPR Leeds. Don't think there's 5:30 because Forest is tomorrow, is it? I'm sure there's a Premier League game at 5:30. CLC says good signing. Wolfgrat says, I'm afraid I can see us dropping points against Reading. So Williams, Thompson, Leonard not about. So you're assuming Woods, assuming he's registered, he was doing interviews and whatnot. So I guess he's going to be straight into that central midfield, but low in numbers there. Reading somehow managed not to lose last week despite going down in the 96th minute and equalising 1 minute later. New contract for Mark Bowen, very well deserved, I would say. Form excellent. Wolfcrat says Wood straight in. Yeah, that makes sense, wouldn't it? 7 unbeaten, 15 points in those 7 games. Really, two teams clashing in good form. Lucas Shaw's done his hamstring, but Puskás is available. Let's sit on the fence and say they're both in form, so neither of them are going to lose. They've both been fairly happy to draw games as well. Rowett's always been a pragmatist, and Bowen's worked under people like Steve Bruce, so I'm sure he'll take a point going to Millwall. Let's go for a draw in that one, and both teams to just be happy to keep undefeated and keep those defeats from the door. Millwall, I think, have only lost something like 2 in 12 or 13 under Rowett. Wolfgrat says, I'll take that. Bristol City in 9th versus Barnsley in 22nd. 2 wins in 3 for the Robins. Against Wigan and Luton, so sides in the bottom 3 there. Sandwich between, those wins sandwich a 4-0 home defeat against Brentford. And then preceding that is a 4-game losing streak. So we're right in Streaky Lee territory here. Still no striker done in the window. Rodri has gone back. Russ says Bristol City loss. Baker doubtful for this one. Smith could return. They always do better with Smith in midfield, don't they? Josh says he thinks Barnsley will beat Bristol City. Barnsley having a right good go at getting out of the bottom 3. Squad's getting some tweaking as well this January, isn't it? Ritzheimer and the other chap whose name I've forgotten comes in. Wolfcrat says, I always support Bristol City because my father was there during the war. Excellent stuff. A very noble reason. 2, huge win over Huddersfield last time. That really kept everything squished up. Big 6-pointer down the bottom there. 15 points in 9 for Barnsley. Really good form. 15 points in the next 9, and they're going to be safe, aren't they? Ritzheimer in last game, so he'll likely continue. Collins in goal over Radlinger. The way Barnsley are playing, they could get something, couldn't they? I don't see Bristol City losing at home to Barnsley, but I think Barnsley could get a point. I'm going to go on the fence again. We'll go for a draw. Do you realise I predict about 4 draws every week and there's only ever about 2? Terrible, isn't it? Right, 3 to go. Preston in 10th versus Charlton. Preston into mid-table now. Is that where they're going to finish? 3 points in the last 5. Poor. 2 wins in the last 11. Big regression. Rob says Mill, which I would do a bit better if I wasn't hanging. Since the international break, Sinclair, does he get his first start? We will see. Josh says a point wouldn't be the worst result for Barnsley. No, it wouldn't. No, a point away in the Championship when you're down the bottom will do you all day long. You do need wins. Peaky says draw. Charlton always lose, says Wolf Press. Charlton in that bottom 6 with Huddersfield now. Within a point, and the trend down is massive for Charlton. Gallagher is gone. He was their best player or one of their best players. 1 win in the past 5, 1 point in the last 3 since finally getting that win against Bristol City. As I said, Gallagher's gone. Tuma and Cullen are the closest back. They could just do with that central midfield power a little bit. I don't see Charlton getting anything up at Preston, I have to say, particularly given the run and given the injuries. And you have to start looking at this and thinking, if I'm Barnsley, I'm not aiming at Huddersfield and Stoke because I'm probably not going to get them, but I can aim at Charlton, and that would be my thoughts. Charlton, let me just check the table, 29 points. They do still have a 5-point gap on Barnsley though, so Charlton do have breathing space. But I'm predicting a Preston win in this one. 2 to go. Derby 17th versus Hull in 11th. Hull lost out to Fulham last time, but it's 3 wins in 5 for Hull. They do manage to keep doing this. They will lose games, but they're dotting the wins in nice and steady enough to keep them in the top half. Still 3 points off the playoffs. McGuinness is back. They've brought in Samuelson and Wilkes from Leeds, who was at Barnsley, wasn't he? Derby, well, God, more headlines for them. FFP charge has gone through now. Very stiff rebuttal in the club statement, so there's going to be some legal. Stick that on top of Wayne Rooney arriving and the Keogh, Bennett and Lawrence thing. Never a dull moment. The form, though, is good. On pitch, 8 points in the last 4 games. Sad news for them is that Bielik, who was their big money signing for the season, he is out for the season. Bad luck in that respect. They pumped money into him. Really good, either centre half or a midfielder. Very useful player and young as well. So we'll see Christian Bielik, or Bielik, can't do the pronunciation, can I, next season. Do you know what? I think Derby are going to win. I just think with that looming, I just think they'll do it. Russ, put that question again. Sorry, it just disappeared off in my feed before I could read it. Something about FFP, and everybody knows us Championship fans love talking about FFP just as much as the Premier League fans love talking about VAR. Hey, right. Last one is Birmingham, Cardiff. By Josh, thank you for tuning in. Wolfgrat says another draw with Blues in Cardiff. Cardiff hanging in there, just about in the top half, 12th. 1 win in 7 for the Bluebirds, only 7 points in that time. Very draw heavy, and pleased to get out of that Derby match without another defeat against Swansea. That would have been a double and not good. Blues' vital win at Luton gives them breathing space as well. They are not in that bottom 6, and they've got a 3-point gap. Form, eventually they'll end up in there if they don't make a move forward, but you can see enough below them that Blues I don't think are going to be in trouble, but FFP investigations with them as well, and they're in a position that they weren't in last season, where Blues could not absorb another points deduction this season. I think that would be too much for them this time around. 1 point in 6 before the win in Luton, 2 wins in 13. God, not good. 3-point gap, as I said. Sunjic back from suspension, but Dean, who was suspended very recently, wasn't he? He's out with a suspension. Do you know what? I like Blues, obviously, but I'm going to twist the knife here. Let's go for a Cardiff away win here. I think they'll have enough on paper to do this, and without either team being particularly in banging form, then we will go for that. So that should be all of the predictions done. If you've got any other questions, throw them in. I know there's still plenty of people in the feeder. Wolf thinks Cardiff could win. I'm off to QPR versus Leeds. Do tweet me if you're going to the game and you want to be on my match experience vlog. We'll see if the curse ends, but if it doesn't, Fulham, Brentford and Forest, particularly Forest, they've got 2 games this week, could really do it. 3-0 Cardiff, says Steve Clutton away. Right, Russell, what do you think of the 3 FFP getting huge points deduction? I don't know. They're really now pushing this FFP thing. Obviously, Blues got 9 points last season. We've seen the total of Derby, but then they're arguing about the timing of the stadium sale. They're arguing about the amortisation. So a transfer that happens in 1 year being then put on the next 3 years' book. So they're arguing about that. They're arguing about the valuation of the stadium. They're going to lawyer up, and that's going to take ages. Remember last year we got the worst case scenario of 21 points for Birmingham, and then it just kept dropping down, and then we were certain it was going to be 15 from the reports we were getting, and then it was 9. So I think they're just starting punishing with the FFP, the EFL. So I don't think they'll go mental crazy. Although I remember, I think Martin's still in the chat. I remember Luton getting 24 points or something in one of their administrations, and basically relegation. Wolfgrat says, "Can we get you a ticket for Leeds on Tuesday?" Leeds don't play on Tuesday. Is that Tuesday week for Millwall? I'm going to be at Brentford Forest for that one. CLC says, "Didn't Birmingham admit to it and not fight it?" Yes, you are correct. Birmingham had a flagrant breach. They should have got 10 points, but they cooperated and got a point taken back. Oh, Martin's corrected me. 30 points Luton got. So, big things can happen with this. It's going to just get really crazy, though, if we're going to, especially because they're big teams as well. Derby, Sheffield Wednesday, Birmingham, and the like. It's a situation that's not desirable, is it, that we've got with this FFP? But we don't want to see. Apparently, it's there to stop clubs going bust and overspending. We don't want to see that. Right, I'm gonna make myself look vaguely human. What time have we got? 9:30, and head off to Shepherd's Bush. Enjoy the football today, wherever it is you may be going. Let's hope, from a neutral point of view, that we get lots of goals and we get lots of competition in the league table. Let's hope not from a neutral point of view that we get a Barnsley defeat and the gap stretching out there, or Leeds and West Brom pushing further on. But hey, what will be, will be. There's always the playoffs, isn't there? So thank you everybody for watching, and I will see you tomorrow for the review. And check out, I guess about 3 p.m, my QPR Leeds review will be up. Thanks for watching. Quick animation says, if I get time, do I think Oxford will get promoted? Yeah, they look good actually, and I haven't seen too many other League One teams trying to play football the way Oxford did. So yeah, I was pretty impressed with them. And in Mason, although sometimes the teams that play football, it just doesn't work in League One, does it? Just keep it tight, get it in the box. There you go. Right, thanks for watching. Over and out, everybody.